Colorado's Department of Labor and Employment has a new law that allows employees working in the state to call out sick without a doctor's note, assuming that you're out for less than 4 days. Well, now Southwest Airlines is suing over that law, saying it will create even more staffing shortages, as well as delays and cancellations.
And 9 News legal expert Whitney Traylor joins us now to talk about this lawsuit. Are you surprised that Southwest moved ahead with this and not one of their employees instead? I mean, it sounds like it's an employee that would make these kinds of challenges. No?
That's a great point. And normally it would be an employee who's suing on these employment laws. But here they've asked for what's called a declaratory judgment. So Southwest is saying, look, court, we want to know if we have to comply with this new state law. And so they're not necessarily suing an individual. They're actually suing the state who's implemented this law, and they're saying that it's the Healthy Family Workers Act, which entitles people to certain leave for being sick and COVID related and things like that. And Southwest is saying, look, the way that we have the way that we do our hours with our flight crew is going to be really difficult to comply with this, and we think we're actually giving more paid leave than is required under the law anyway.
Is some of this a challenge between what the state says, what mandates, and what the federal government mandates?
Right, that's exactly right. And I read the complaint today, and that is the argument that Southwest is making. They're saying there's these 2 federal laws, the Railway Labor Act and another airline act, and they're saying that they're in compliance with those because they have unions there. Their employees are under unions, and they're complying with the collective bargaining agreement, which is what the federal law says they're supposed to do. So they're saying that complying with this state law is going to be such a burden that it outweighs whatever benefit the state is trying to implement by having paid leave.
So if Southwest were to win this, would you expect others to jump in, or what would this do to the law itself?
Right. So it would depend on how they won, because a lot of times, I mean, this is a great example of our checks and balances, right? The legislature passes a law, the court says, no, it's unconstitutional. Well, as a sort of response to that, the legislature can say, well, we're going to modify the law this way. And so the court might say, well, this applies to everyone except the airlines, or they may find some sort of carve out. So it may not void the whole law, but if they say, you know, this is unconstitutional, then it would void.
Is there any chance that the court would say, let it play out, let's get a look at it, let's see how it runs, and if it is a problem, come back to us?
That's a great point, and I think they actually will, because since they're asking for a declaratory judgment, they're going to need some sort of evidence that there's an issue here. And really what they're saying is, look, our flight crew, they go point to point. They don't do it necessarily by hours. And if you have people suddenly calling out sick without having to provide a notice under those 4 days, they said that could affect their flight statuses and everything. So it could actually impact the consumer quite significantly. And that's actually what Southwest, their main argument is, this is going to come back and cost the consumer.
Not about us. We're trying to protect the consumer. It's not about us.
Well, the airlines are getting so much heat anyway for the delays and the fact they can't keep up, and they're saying staffing shortages like so many people right now. So
that's right.
Interesting to see but there's a lot of employment laws that are going into effect, new employment laws.
That's exactly right, especially in Colorado. Some COVID related and some were just the legislature. We have a very kind of left-leaning legislature, and so there's a lot of new laws favoring employees actually. For example, 2 weeks of COVID paid leave if it's because of COVID, 80 hours. This, you now have 1 hour for every 30 hours you work of paid leave up to 48 hours. So there's a lot of laws favorable to employees this year that were implemented.
It'll be interesting to see if Southwest is alone here, or if there's other litigation that follows with these new laws as well. When it happens, if it happens, of course, Whitney, we'll have you back. We'll talk more about it.
I'll be here.
All right. It's great to see you again.
Good to see you.